Hey everybody! Sorry about yesterday when I forgot, and I honestly forgot to post a video. Um, so kindly overlook that. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about culture wars. Culture wars, as I see it, is the cold Civil War. And we are right now in a cold Civil War. It's when the shooting starts that the Civil War will become hot again. I know we've heard all kinds of things, about uh, people running around here with semi-automatic weapons and rifles and trying to intimidate people. And it's kind of scary. It's a very scary time indeed when one side thinks that they can intimidate the other by use of force. Oh, now, Dwayne, you're carrying it a bit too far. No, no, I'm not. Because, as with anything, people don't have good sense, especially nowadays. They believe in shooting first and making up answers later. And that goes back to all these stand your ground laws and uh, castle doctrines and things like that that state legislatures have put into place, saying that you do not have to retreat. Well, I've got some news for the conservatives among us, especially the gun huggers. Now, I like guns. I like to shoot guns. So I'm not going to say, oh, let's ban the Second Amendment and let's get rid of all the firearms and things like that. No, no, not going to happen. I wouldn't support something like that to begin with. But I do support common sense gun regulation. I do not think that people who suffer from a chronic mental illness should be able to possess firearms. That's simple. Because if you go back and you look at the incidents of gun violence where there's been a mass shooting, we find people who suffer from some form of chronic mental illness. I mean, that's just the way it is. And we make it easier in our society to have access to guns than we do mental health care. And I'm a big advocate of mental health care because, well, I spent 22 years as a psychotherapist. That being said, You know where my allegiances lie. Do we have a gun problem in this country? Yes, we do. Because for 8 years, I had to listen to how Barack Obama was going to come and take our guns away. And all that did was fuel gun sales. Companies like Winchester, Smith and Wesson, Beretta, uh, Ruger, they made a killing over those 8 years. All by all by the NRA stirring up fear. And that's what this country runs on a lot of is fear. Fear of people who look different, people who talk different, people who have different customs than what we do. And it's sad, really. I've been doing research on my new book, which is rapidly turning into a series of books about the culture wars. And one particular chapter is dedicated to a movement of evangelical Christianity that believes in having sheer numbers of children. So at some future date, they'll be able to fight the Muslims. Seriously, dude? Seriously? You think that the Muslims are going to come and take over by force? What are they going to do? Falafel us to death? Overdose us on shawarma? Wrap us all in grape leaves? Folks, that's foolishness. That's stupidity of the highest order. Right now, we're going through a interesting time in this country. Black lives matter, and I do think Black lives matter. Now, do I think that Black lives matter more? Sorry about that. Okay, back to what we were saying. Um, the Muslim, the Muslim religion, people of the Islamic faith, do not, I repeat, do not want to come to this country, instill Sharia law, um, and take over this country. That's foolishness. And if you believe that, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn I'd like to sell you. So, right now, I'm going to take a little break and I'll be right back. Thank you for watching. Welcome back. I had to take a few moments to eat lunch. Uh, I'm a good old country boy. I had a bologna sandwich and liver and onions. So, two of my favorite dishes, if in case anybody's taking notes, and it was very good. So, but now we're back where we were talking about the culture wars and how, uh, one side seeks to intimidate the other with uh, the use of weapons, guns to be exact. And it's foolish. It's foolish because they think that by intimidating, that they are somehow winning this war. No, no. It shows the level of desperation. It shows the level of ignorance that they possess. And I'm writing a book. Excuse me. I'm writing a book about the culture wars, and I have, I could write all day on it. But what I have done is I've just picked out a few topics, um, researched them, and discussed them. Mm, That's what I'm doing right now. I'm in that phase of the uh, writing process. Now, at the end, or toward the end, I am going to do an analysis of this, their behaviors. One thing that stands out to me is the, as I was alluding to earlier, the Black Lives Matter movement. And I agree with them 100%. Uh, but the conservatives will counter that all lives matter. True, but Black Lives Matter just as much as a white life. You can't say they do with all the stuff that's going on right now with Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, uh, and things. You know, people who are just shot in cold blood because of the color of their skin, like Trayvon Martin, and the little boy up in either Toledo or Cleveland who was just playing with a toy gun. When I was a kid, I had toy guns. Some of them I kept and gave to my grandson. Now, do I expect him to get shot over it? No, not at all. Because he's white. And because I'm white, I could strap on any kind of firearm I wanted, walk through the middle of town, Nobody'd say a word. An African American, a black man, a Hispanic man, an Asian man. The police will be all over them like ugly on an ape. And that's sad, really. To quote Shakespeare, if you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? Underneath the skin tone, ladies and gentlemen, we're all human beings. What can kill me can kill a black man or a Hispanic man just as dead. And then you have these people who will call the police over absolutely trivial things. Sometimes no reason at all. I'm reminded of the incident. I believe the young lady's name was Amy Cooper. She was a white lady, and she did not have her dog on a leash in an area of Central Park that required her dog to be on a leash. There was a black man there who was bird watching, minding his own business. But he told her politely to please put the dog on the leash, and she decided to call the police, saying that a black man was threatening her in broad daylight. She expected her white privilege to get her way and possibly get a bad ending to a Harvard educated black man. Well, the cards did not fall quite the way Miss Cooper wanted it. Mr. Cooper, no relation, wanted or videoed it, posted it on social media, and it went viral. It went worldwide. Miss Cooper tried the damsel in distress. You know, there's a big scary black man trying to hurt me. Send cops, quick. Well, they saw that that wasn't the case. But what happened to Miss Cooper, interestingly enough, she lost her dog. Her dog was taken away from her. She was the one arrested and now is charged with filing a false report. Third degree, I believe it It's missed me. But she still is looking for up to a year in jail. She had a very successful career on Wall Street. She lost her job. And the sad part about it is, this is the guy who took the video, the alleged black attacker, feels bad for what he did. Now, who has a conscience in this scenario? Miss Cooper says her life is ruined. Maybe so. But that is a hard, hard lesson to learn. Or as I call her, the little Karen who cried wolf. There's some things that will only carry you so far in life. Your race is one of them. Times are changing. It's estimated by the year 2040, white people will be the minority in this country, and they are scared to death. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the way they treated minorities. You think? But so, in a last ditch effort to preserve America as this white Christian beacon of capitalism for the world, we start the culture wars. We've always had them. Pro-slavery and abolitionists versus abolitionists, uh, North versus South, East Coast versus West Coast. I mean, you know, East Coast and West Coast versus the rest of the country. Um, Politicians talk about flyover country. That's mid-America. They ain't got too many electoral votes, so we just kind of fly over them. So the people got sick and tired of it. And they, with a little help from the Koch brothers, the Christian Coalition, the Moral Majority, uh, whoever else you want to point the finger at, they helped galvanize Middle America to make them a political force to be reckoned with. And they are taught to respect and never question authority. So when you get somebody like Donald Trump in the office of the President of the United States, who, for whatever reason, decides to turn this nation severely to the right and try to merge the interests of both government and business. That's how you get a fascist state. Other countries in the world has called America a failed state. It only took us 240 years to do it. But we did it. We did it, and we did it upright. Those we cannot offend, we isolate. Trump has a real love for authoritarian dictators because he wants to be one himself. And there's people out there that want the Trump family to be a political dynasty where Trump serves his 8 years. Either Ivanka, his daughter, or one of his two sons succeed him in office for 8 years. So you add that up, that's 12 years. Oh, I'm sorry, that's 24 years. By that time, Barron, the youngest son, is old enough to run for the presidency. And they'll give him 8 years. So that would be, what, 40 some odd years under Trump if the way they're wanting to do things pans out. I don't think this country would survive. We would literally tear ourselves apart. I know there was an old saying, save your Confederate money, boys, the South will rise again. South can't do it on their own. Oh, they can try. Try as they might, they don't have the infrastructure still. They may have the guns, they may have the hoop and holler of a war party, but they ain't got the backing of the armed forces of the United States. And I would like to see Bubba with his grandfather's shotgun go up against an Abrams tank or an armored personnel carrier. Or a Laws rocket, light anti-tank weapon. That wouldn't survive. They wouldn't survive. So there you have it, folks. Excuse me. Today is July the 7th, 2020. And this is where we stand. We are neck deep in a culture war, ladies and gentlemen. or as I like to call it, the cold civil war. It's a battle of ideas right now. It's a battle of intellect. We are going to tear ourselves apart as a country if this keeps up. But until next week, I hope everybody stays safe. The coronavirus has made a resurgence. We're still in the first wave of it, but it's still making a resurgence. And I want you all to stay safe. I want your families to stay safe. Wear the damn masks. It's not for your protection, it's for those around you whose protection it's for. So, have a good week, and I will see you next week. Take care, everybody.